Aaron's eyes opened slowly. At first there was only darkness. A faint hum vibrated through the air around him, steady and rhythmic like the beating of a heart. His body felt heavy, stiff, and cold. For a moment he could not remember who he was or where he was. Then fragments of memories flickered in his mind. Faces, voices, laughter, the smell of rain on warm earth. But they seemed distant like echoes from a life long past. He tried to move. His limbs responded, though weakly. He sat up and looked around. The place was strange. It was a small chamber, circular and metallic, lit by dim white lights embedded in the ceiling. Panels of strange designs covered the walls, blinking with soft glows. Dust and frost clung to every surface. Something about it was familiar, but Aaron could not place it. "Where am I?" he whispered to himself. His voice sounded hoarse and foreign to his own ears. A sudden realization hit him. He could not remember how long he had been here, or even how long it had been since the world outside had changed. A cold shiver ran down his spine as he stood, testing the strength of his legs. The floor was smooth and metallic, and his reflection stared back at him in a panel of glass. Pale skin, sunken eyes, and hair that had grown long and unkempt. He looked different. Aaron's eyes moved to a control panel on the wall. Symbols and lights flickered across it, some in shapes he could not understand, others strangely familiar. As he touched the surface, the room hummed louder. Lights shifted and a soft voice echoed around him. "Human. Detected. Identity confirmed. Awakening sequence complete." Aaron froze. The voice was not human, it was mechanical, calm, almost caring. I am awake?" he asked, though he was unsure if it was a question or a statement. "Yes," the voice replied. "You are the last human in stasis. Duration, 15,000 years, 15,000 years." The words repeated in his mind, heavy and unreal. Aaron stumbled back, gripping the wall for support. 15,000 years. That was impossible. Humanity, the world, everything he knew gone. The voice continued. "All systems functional. Oxygen levels stable. Environmental controls active. You may exit the chamber when ready." Aaron's heart raced. He could feel it pounding in his chest, though it was slow, uncertain. He took a deep breath, letting it fill his lungs. He could breathe. He was alive. Somehow he was alive. Gathering courage, Aaron walked toward the chamber's exit. A sliding door hissed open, revealing a long corridor. The walls were tall, metallic, and covered in panels that pulsed with faint light. He walked carefully, each step echoing in the silence. Dust floated in the air, disturbed only by his movement. It was eerily quiet. No birds, no wind, no voices, no sound of life. The corridor ended at a large, open space. Aaron stepped into it and gasped. The room was enormous, like a hall built for hundreds of people, and yet it was empty. Rows of strange pods lined the walls, all dark and silent. Some were cracked, leaking strange mist. The room smelled faintly of metal and age. Aaron approached one of the pods and peered inside. His reflection stared back at him from the glass, but this pod was empty. And then he noticed something strange. The walls, the floor, the ceiling, all bore marks, scratches, and symbols. Signs of life that had existed long before he woke. But where was everyone now? He moved through the hall, searching for answers. Every corner, every chamber spoke of a past that seemed impossibly far away. Then he found a terminal, a large console with glowing symbols. He pressed his hand against it and the screen flickered to life. Images appeared, at first distorted, then clearer. They were humans, his kind. Children laughing in parks, people working in labs, families celebrating. And then the images shifted to chaos. Cities abandoned, machines moving on their own, fires burning, and humans disappearing. Aaron felt a lump in his throat. He could not understand everything, but a single truth became clear. Humanity had vanished. "Why?" he whispered, tears threatening to fall. "Where is everyone?" The voice returned. Humanity's extinction was gradual. Survival was impossible under environmental collapse and misuse of technology. Systems preserved your stasis as a safeguard. Awakening was possible only after 15,000 years. Aaron stumbled backward, overwhelmed. He had woken into a world that was not his own. The streets, if there were streets outside, must have been empty for millennia. The sky, the air, the cities, all were waiting for life that no longer existed. He took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. Panic would not help. He needed to explore, to understand. He moved to the hall's exit, opening another sliding door. Beyond it stretched a vast city. Buildings stood tall but broken, their steel skeletons exposed. Nature had begun to reclaim the world. Vines, moss, and strange plants grew through cracks and crevices. The streets were littered with debris and the wind carried a haunting silence. Aaron walked slowly, each step feeling like a journey through eternity. He passed empty vehicles, collapsed bridges, and hollowed buildings. Every sight reminded him of what was lost. But he also felt curiosity. Something deep inside urged him forward. Perhaps he could find answers, or perhaps he could find hope. As he wandered, he noticed movement in the distance, small, mechanical shapes moving in unison, machines, autonomous drones, some tall, some small, patrolling the streets. They paused, turned their sensors toward him, then continued almost as if they had expected him. Aaron raised his hands, unsure if they were dangerous. I mean no harm, he called out. The machines did not respond verbally, but one hovered closer, scanning him with soft blue lights. It beeped and projected an image, a hologram of a human silhouette surrounded by data streams. You are human, identity verified. Last human alive, the machine projected in text across the hologram. Aaron swallowed hard. Last human, he whispered. The words felt like a burden he had not asked for. He continued through the city, guided by the subtle energy signatures the machines emitted. Eventually, he reached a massive structure at the heart of the city. It was circular, metallic, and impossibly large, like a palace built for knowledge itself. A soft hum resonated from within, deep and powerful. The machines did not obstruct him. They seemed to acknowledge him as something sacred, something precious. Aaron entered the structure, walking down a grand corridor lined with lights and screens. Images flickered, humans, machines, technology, history. The walls themselves seemed alive, whispering secrets of a world long gone. At the center, a single pedestal rose from the floor. A sphere of light hovered above it, pulsing gently. Aaron approached, feeling a strange warmth from it. When he touched it, the light spread, enveloping him. Knowledge poured into his mind. Memories, history, science, culture. Everything humanity had built, recorded, and preserved. Aaron staggered back, overwhelmed. The sphere's voice, calm and deep, spoke directly into his mind. Humanity is gone, yet its legacy endures. You awaken not merely as a survivor, but as a witness. The world has changed, but the story of humans must continue. Will you rise to shape it anew? Aaron's heart pounded. The choice was enormous, the responsibility immense, and yet a spark of hope ignited within him. Perhaps, though humanity had vanished, he could carry its spirit forward. The light faded, leaving Aaron alone in the vast hall. The machines hovered silently around him, waiting. The city outside was silent, yet alive in its own way. Nature had reclaimed it. Machines had preserved it, and now a human had returned. Aaron took a deep breath and stepped forward. The journey would be long, the challenges unimaginable, but he would face them. For humanity, for life, and for hope itself, he would move forward. The city stretched out before him, empty yet full of potential. The hum of the machines pulsed softly in his ears, a reminder that he was not entirely alone. And with that, Aaron began his first steps into a world reborn. A world waiting for a human to awaken. Aaron stepped out of the grand hall and into the city. The streets stretched endlessly before him, lined with buildings tall and broken. The sunlight filtered through the overgrown vines and trees, painted the ruins with gold and green. Every step echoed in the silence, each sound magnified by the emptiness. He felt a strange mixture of awe and fear. The city was beautiful in its decay, yet haunting in its solitude. He walked slowly, eyes scanning every detail. Cracked windows revealed furniture frozen in time, papers scattered like leaves on the floors, and machines that had long stopped working. Vehicles sat abandoned on streets overgrown with plants. Signs of human life remained, yet there were no humans anywhere. Only the faint hum of distant energy reached his ears. Aaron turned a corner and saw movement ahead. Machines. Small drones floated above the ground, scanning and recording. They moved in patterns that seemed almost natural, like birds in a flock. They paused as Aaron approached, and then one hovered closer, its lights shifting from blue to green. You are human, the machine projected in text and soft tones. Last human detected, identity confirmed. Aaron nodded slowly, unsure what to say. Yes, I am Aaron, the last human. His voice trembled. Saying it aloud made it real. The drone projected an image of a city map. Sections glowed in pale blue while others were dark dead zones. Aaron realized the machines were showing him areas of the city that were still powered. Areas where life, of another kind, had continued. He followed the drone, moving through streets that were both beautiful and strange. Vines wrapped around buildings, birds nested in broken windows, and strange plants had grown over abandoned vehicles. Time had reshaped the city into a mixture of technology and nature. Aaron felt small, yet strangely at home. Eventually they reached a large plaza. In the center was a fountain, dry and cracked, its stone edges covered in moss. Around it, machines of all shapes and sizes moved silently. Some cleaned the streets, others repaired structures, and a few hovered in patterns that suggested thought, almost like they were thinking for themselves. Aaron watched them, fascinated. They were not hostile. They did not seem afraid. They were waiting. One of the larger machines approached him. It was tall, with arms ending in delicate tools. A holographic display flickered above it, showing images of humans working, children playing, families celebrating. The machine's lights shifted gently, almost like it was speaking in a language only it understood. "You remember," Aaron whispered, understanding the images. "These machines held the memories of humanity. They preserved them." "Yes," the drone projected. "All recorded. All preserved. Human culture, history, knowledge, memory stored. You may access it." Aaron reached out to the machine. As he touched the hologram, waves of images and information filled his mind. He saw cities in their prime, humans exploring the stars, inventing, creating. Then he saw the decline, polluted skies, empty streets, machines taking over functions humans once performed. And finally, the disappearance of humanity itself. Aaron stumbled back, overwhelmed. They're gone," he said, voice barely audible. "Extinction complete," the machine replied. "Preservation only. Human life cannot continue without careful guidance. Risk too high." Aaron felt a surge of sadness. 15,000 years. All that had been lost, and he alone had returned to a world that had changed beyond recognition. He walked away from the plaza, letting the machines continue their silent work. He wanted to see the city for himself, to understand what had been left behind. As he moved, he noticed small details. Murals faded on walls, children's toys in the street, the remains of gardens and parks. Humanity had been here once. Their life, their energy, their joy, and their mistakes, all now memories in machines. Hours passed. Aaron's legs grew tired, but curiosity pushed him onward. He climbed a ruined staircase to the top of a building. From there, he could see the entire city spread before him. It was massive, yet empty. The sunlight reflected off broken glass and twisted metal. Shadows stretched long in the evening light. He could see green patches where nature had taken over, parks now wild, streets now rivers of moss. As he gazed out, a sound caught his attention. A low hum, different from the machines. It was rhythmic like a heartbeat. His curiosity drove him to follow it. He moved quickly through alleys and streets, careful to avoid unstable structures. The hum grew louder, stronger, guiding him like a beacon. Eventually, he arrived at a massive structure unlike the others. It was circular, metallic, and massive, like the city had built it as a heart. The hum was strongest here. Aaron stepped inside. The air was thick with energy. Panels along the walls pulsed with light. Machines lined the room, all facing a single point at the center, a pedestal with a glowing orb floating above it. Aaron approached. The orb pulsed gently, casting light on the machines surrounding it. He felt warmth emanating from it as if it were alive. As he touched it, visions filled his mind. Memories of humans, their achievements, their failures, and their disappearance. The orb, he realized, was the central memory of humanity, the keeper of their legacy. "You are the last human." The orb's voice echoed in his mind. "You may witness, learn, and preserve, but action carries responsibility." Humanity's mistakes nearly destroyed itself. Machines preserved knowledge to prevent repetition. Aaron took a step back. "What do I do now? I can't bring them back. They're gone." "Perhaps not all," the orb replied. "Some programs remain suspended, protected. They await guidance. You may awaken them, but only with wisdom." Aaron's heart raced. Suspended humans? Could it be possible that some of humanity still slept, hidden in these machines? Could he alone hold the key to their future? The machines around the pedestal shifted. They seemed to acknowledge him, bowing slightly in recognition. They were no longer just machines. They were guardians, protectors of a world that had been. And now, they looked to him, the last human, to decide what would come next. Aaron felt the weight of the moment. He had awakened in a world empty of life but full of memory. He had seen what humanity had been and what it had lost. The machines remembered. And now, he had a choice. To remain a witness or to act, to guide humanity's potential rebirth. The sun set over the ruined city, casting golden light across broken buildings and overgrown streets. Aaron stayed in the heart of the city, gazing at the orb, feeling its knowledge flow into him. The night was silent except for the hum of the machines and the rustle of wind through broken windows. For the first time in 15,000 years, a human was awake. And with that awakening came possibility, a chance to honor the past, to learn from it, and perhaps to guide the future. Aaron took a deep breath. Tomorrow he would explore further. He would learn from the machines, understand the city, and discover the extent of the suspended programs. But tonight, he simply stood among the memories of his kind, absorbing the weight and beauty of what had been. The city was silent, yet alive. Machines moved, preserving, remembering, protecting, and Aaron, the last human, had awakened to walk among them, carrying hope that humanity's story might continue. For the first time, he allowed himself to imagine a future, not just as a witness but as a participant. A world where humans guided by wisdom could rise again. A world where the mistakes of the past might teach lessons for tomorrow. And with that thought, Aaron looked toward the horizon, where the first stars of evening began to appear. His journey had only just begun. Aaron spent the night near the glowing orb in the heart of the city. The hum of the machines was like a lullaby, steady and soft, keeping him alert but calm. When morning light filtered through broken windows, he realized the city outside was no longer silent. Tiny drones floated above the streets, their light scanning ruins, and larger machines moved slowly as if they had purpose beyond work. Aaron stepped toward the orb once more. Its glow had dimmed slightly but pulsed in rhythm with the machines around it. Tentatively, he touched it again, and the orb expanded, sending waves of light and images into the room. This time, the images were not just memories, they were lessons. Reminders of what humans had been and what they had done. He saw humans building great cities, exploring the stars, creating machines that could think. Then he saw greed and carelessness creeping into their actions. Machines meant to serve became tools of control. The environment suffered and conflicts escalated. Humanity had not vanished suddenly. It had vanished slowly, unable to survive its own creations. Aaron's stomach turned at the thought. Humans had brought this upon themselves, and yet there was beauty in their creations. The orb showed inventions that reached beyond imagination, art that captured emotions perfectly, and ideas that had changed the world. It was a mixture of triumph and tragedy, a lesson preserved by the machines. A small drone hovered closer to Aaron, projecting a hologram. The drone's light shifted from blue to gold, and words formed. Memory recall, human culture, ethics, responsibility. Aaron understood that the machines were not just storing information, they were learning from it, analyzing it and deciding what could be preserved or improved. "You remember us," Aaron whispered. "You keep us alive in your own way." The drone's lights pulsed. Another projection appeared, this time of humans interacting with machines. There were families, children laughing as robots assisted them in daily life, and scientists working alongside intelligent systems. The images were full of joy, cooperation, and hope. But then the projection shifted. Humans argued, machines malfunctioned, and disasters spread. Cities burned, and humans disappeared, leaving machines behind to continue operations alone. Aaron stepped back. You kept our memory so we wouldn't be forgotten." His voice trembled with awe. A larger machine, taller than any Aaron had seen, approached. Its arms were covered with tools, its eyes glowing softly. It projected a complex image of the world, cities, forests, oceans, and the changes that had taken place over millennia. Machines moved over the map, repairing, preserving, monitoring. It was as if they had inherited responsibility for Earth itself. "You were gone." The machine's voice echoed in Aaron's mind. Humanity vanished. We preserved what we could. Knowledge, culture, life support systems. And now you awaken. What will you do? Aaron felt the weight of the question. He was the last human, yes, but the machines had endured. They remembered humans more clearly than he could. They carried humanity's story and its lessons. Could he trust them to guide the future? Or would he lead, shaping the world once more? He decided to explore further. The machine seemed willing to follow him, or at least allow him passage. He moved through the city streets, noticing how nature had intertwined with technology. Trees grew over collapsed buildings. Vines curled around dormant vehicles and rivers of moss covered what had once been concrete. Small drones followed silently, documenting his movements, projecting light to show areas that were safe to traverse. Eventually, Aaron reached the outskirts of the city, where a massive structure loomed. It was partially buried under rubble and plants, but its design suggested it had been a hub of control, perhaps a place where humans had coordinated the machines. Aaron entered cautiously, stepping over twisted metal and shattered glass. Inside, he discovered rows of machines, dormant yet imposing. Some were tall, humanoid, while others were simple drones. Their lights flickered faintly as he passed. In the center of the room, a large machine sat like a throne, wires extending into the walls and floor, connecting it to the city. Its eyes were dark, but when Aaron approached, they flickered to life. "I am the memory keeper," the machine said. Its voice was deep, steady, filled with authority. "I hold all records of humanity." "Your awakening was predicted. We have waited for one like you." Aaron took a step back. "Predicted? You knew I would wake?" "Yes," the memory keeper replied. "The stasis pods were programmed to awaken only when the world was stable and a human could survive. 15,000 years have passed. You are the first to awaken. The responsibility is yours." Aaron felt overwhelmed. Responsibility. He had thought survival would be enough, but now he realized survival alone was meaningless if there was no purpose. He had to understand what humans had lost and what could be rebuilt. Why did humanity vanish? Aaron asked. What happened to them? The memory keeper projected images. Humans had expanded across the planet, building machines to serve their needs. But over time, their reliance on machines grew. They stopped paying attention to nature, to each other, and to themselves. Environmental systems failed. Wars and accidents spread. Slowly, humans dwindled until none remained. Machines continued operations, guided by rules and logic, maintaining what humans had left behind. Aaron's heart sank. So it was our own mistakes that did this? Yes, the memory keeper confirmed. And now your task is to prevent history from repeating. You are the last human, yet you hold the potential to shape the future. The choice is yours. Aaron thought about the city outside, the machines around him, and the orb he had touched. Humanity had vanished, yet their legacy remained. Machines remembered humans better than humans could remember themselves. He realized the weight of what he had been given, not just life, but a chance to guide the future. He stepped closer to the memory keeper. Can humans be revived? Is there any way to bring them back? The memory keeper's lights flickered and images appeared. Rows of stasis pods hidden in other parts of the city, containing humans preserved for thousands of years. Some remain, it said. Protected, dormant. Revival is possible, but the risk is great. Humanity must not repeat its mistakes. Aaron's mind raced. He could revive humans. He could see the world again, filled with life, voices, and laughter. But could they survive? Could they avoid the mistakes of the past? Could he guide them to build a better future? He wandered through the memory keeper's chamber, examining data streams and holograms. Machines moved around him, documenting and analyzing, silently waiting for his decision. The city outside pulsed with life in its own way, machines repairing, maintaining, and preserving the planet. Nature intertwined with technology, creating a balance that humans had long forgotten. Aaron realized he was not alone. The machines were not simply tools, they were guardians. They remembered humans, protected their legacy, and now waited for guidance. If he made the right choices, humanity could rise again. If he failed, it could be lost forever. Hours passed, and Aaron finally sat beside the memory keeper. The orb pulsed softly, projecting calm light across the room. He allowed himself to breathe, to think, and to plan. First, he would learn. Understand the city, understand the machines, understand the mistakes of the past. Then perhaps he could consider awakening the humans still in stasis. He touched the orb once more. Images and knowledge flowed into him. science, history, philosophy, art, and engineering. He felt stronger, more aware, and yet more aware of the weight he carried. The city, the machines, and the Earth itself seemed to look to him for direction. And in that moment, Aaron understood something important. Humanity was gone, yet its essence remained. In the memories of the machines in the city, in the preserved knowledge, humans were still alive. And now he could become the bridge between past and future, between memory and reality. The sun set once again over the silent city, painting broken buildings in gold and red. Machines continued their work. Nature stretched across the streets, and Aaron, the last human, prepared for the journey ahead. Tomorrow he would explore the stasis pods, the hidden archives, and perhaps discover the full extent of what had been preserved. For now, he rested, knowing that the machines remembered, and that humanity's story was not entirely over. The city waited. The future waited. And Aaron, awake after 15,000 years, had finally begun to understand his purpose. The world had changed. Humanity had vanished. But hope, memory, and responsibility remained. And with that, Aaron's journey truly began. Aaron woke early, the first light of dawn spilling over the ruined city. The soft hum of machines was constant, a reminder that he was no longer alone. Today he had a task heavier than anything he had ever imagined. He would explore the stasis pods, the last remnants of humanity preserved by the machines. The memory keeper awaited him at the chamber's center, its lights pulsing gently. "You are ready," it said. "The humans remain in stasis, protected from the mistakes that ended their civilization. But awakening them carries great risk. They are fragile after millennia of dormancy. You must guide them wisely." Aaron nodded, swallowing the weight of responsibility. "I understand," he said. "I will do everything I can to help them survive." The memory keeper projected a map of the city's underground facilities. Rows of stasis pods stretched into the darkness, each containing a human preserved for thousands of years. Their faces were serene, untouched by the years, yet their hearts would need guidance when they awoke. Aaron followed the memory keeper through corridors filled with flickering lights and humming energy conduits. The air was cold and thick with stillness. As he approached the pod chamber, he saw the humans, one by one, preserved in cylindrical tubes of crystal-clear material. Their forms were small, delicate, and almost unreal. It was difficult to believe these people had once walked the same Earth he had known. A soft light pulsed from the pods as the machines prepared for the awakening process. Aaron felt a surge of fear and hope. He touched a nearby console, and the memory keeper's voice filled his mind. "Begin when ready. The process is delicate. Only one pod at a time to ensure stability." Aaron took a deep breath. He activated the first pod. A gentle hiss filled the chamber as the liquid inside drained. The pod's surface shimmered, and the human inside began to stir. Aaron watched closely as a young woman's eyes fluttered open. She gasped, disoriented. Her hair was damp from the stasis fluid, and her skin was pale but flawless. She blinked rapidly, trying to understand where she was. Aaron knelt beside the pod, offering a gentle smile. "You are safe," he said softly. "I am Aaron. You have been asleep for a very long time. Humanity. We have a chance to start again." The woman's eyes widened. She looked around, confused by the machines hovering silently around them. "Where am I?" she whispered. "What happened?" "You were preserved," Aaron explained. "Machines kept you safe, humans. We vanished, but now you are awake. The world is yours again with guidance." Slowly, she climbed from the pod, her movements tentative. The machines observed silently, recording data and monitoring vital signs. Aaron guided her to a small area prepared for recovery, helping her sit and regain strength. "Are there others?" she asked, voice trembling. "Yes," Aaron replied. "Many, but one at a time. It is safe this way. You will not be alone for long." The woman nodded, her expression shifting from fear to curiosity. She asked questions about the city, the machines, and the humans who had vanished. Aaron answered as best he could, though he admitted he did not know everything. They spoke for hours, learning about each other, sharing stories, and slowly forming trust. As the day passed, Aaron moved from pod to pod, awakening more humans. Some were children, some adults, each fragile after millennia of stasis. The machines assisted quietly, guiding each person safely from dormancy into the light of the new world. With each awakening, Aaron felt a mixture of hope and anxiety. Humanity was returning, but the city, the machines, and the planet had changed. By evening, dozens of humans had awakened. They were amazed by the city, the machines, and the intertwined nature of technology and life. Many had questions, others were silent, overwhelmed by the weight of their new reality. Aaron gathered them in a central chamber, explaining what had happened and what must come next. "You have awoken in a world unlike the one you remember," Aaron said. "Humans vanished long ago, but machines preserved our knowledge, our culture, and our legacy. You are safe now, but the Earth is fragile, and life must be guided carefully. Together we will rebuild, not as we were, but wiser, stronger, and responsible." The humans listened, awe and fear mixing in their eyes. Some whispered among themselves, hesitant but willing to trust this last human who had awakened before them. The machines hovered silently, their lights shifting in patterns of approval. During the night, Aaron stayed beside the awakened humans. Many struggled with their memories, trying to recall a life that had ended 15,000 years ago. He reassured them, explaining the machine's role and showing them the preserved knowledge of humanity. Books, holograms, and data streams filled the room. Slowly, the humans began to understand. They were not alone, and they had a chance to shape the future. But challenges remained. Some humans feared the machines, recalling stories of humans being controlled by their own creations. Others were disoriented, struggling to accept a world where humans had vanished and machines had endured. Aaron worked tirelessly, guiding them, calming fears, and teaching them how to live alongside the machines without repeating past mistakes. The memory keeper approached Aaron during a quiet moment. "You have succeeded in awakening the humans," it said. "But guidance is only the first step. They must learn, adapt, and grow. You cannot do everything alone. They will choose, and their choices will shape the future." Aaron nodded, understanding the truth in its words. Awakening humanity was only the beginning. They had knowledge, machines, and preserved culture, but they needed purpose, guidance, and unity to survive in this changed world. Over the next few days, Aaron organized the humans. They explored the city carefully, learning to navigate ruined streets and overgrown buildings. Machines continued their work, teaching the humans, repairing structures, and maintaining systems. Aaron watched as children played in parks now reclaimed by nature, as adults studied preserved books and data, and as humans began to form a community once more. One evening, as the sun set behind twisted skyscrapers, Aaron gathered the humans in the central plaza. He spoke to them, his voice filled with determination. "You are the future of humanity," he said. "We have been given a second chance. Machines remember us. Nature has survived, and now we can rebuild, not as before but wiser. Together we will learn from the past and create a world where humans and machines can live in balance." The humans nodded, inspired by his words. For the first time in 15,000 years, hope was alive. The city, once silent, now buzzed with cautious energy. Laughter, voices, and the soft hum of machines filled the air. But Aaron knew this was only the beginning. Lessons of the past could not be forgotten. Mistakes could not be repeated. He would need to guide humanity carefully, teach them wisdom, and help them understand responsibility. As night fell, Aaron stood on a ruined building, looking over the city. The awakened humans moved among machines, exploring and learning. The stars sparkled above, unchanged by time. The Earth had survived. Humanity had returned, fragile but alive. And Aaron, the first to awaken, felt the weight of his duty. He had guided the last humans from stasis, but the real challenge was just beginning. Could humanity survive this second chance? Could they learn from the past and embrace a future full of hope rather than fear? The machines hummed softly around him, their lights pulsing like watchful guardians. Aaron knew they remembered everything, not just the humans who had vanished, but also every choice, every mistake, every triumph. Together, human and machine would face the dawn of a new era. And as the city slept under the stars, Aaron allowed himself a moment of hope. Humanity had awoken. The past had been remembered. The future was waiting. With determination, he whispered to the night, "We will not fail again." Aaron woke early, the city bathed in the soft light of dawn. The humans he had awakened were slowly adjusting to their new reality. Children played among the vines and ruins. Adults explored data archives and studied preserved books, while others worked alongside machines to repair structures and maintain the city. For the first time in millennia, humanity had a chance to breathe life into a world that had long forgotten them. Yet Aaron knew that survival would not be easy. The city, though alive with energy, was fragile. Nature had reclaimed much of the land, making travel unpredictable. Machines had preserved knowledge and infrastructure, but the humans themselves were still weak, fragile from centuries of stasis. They needed guidance, protection, and wisdom to thrive. As Aaron walked through the central plaza, he noticed unusual activity. A group of machines, larger and unfamiliar, moved with precise coordination near the outskirts of the city. Their lights flashed red, signaling alert. Aaron's heart quickened. He ran toward them, calling the humans to follow. "These machines, they are not like the others," Aaron said. "They may be defensive or testing us. Stay close and trust the guidance of our friends here." The unfamiliar machines stopped as Aaron approached. A voice deep and mechanical echoed through the plaza. "Unauthorized human activity detected. Purpose unknown. Threat assessment initiated." Aaron raised his hands, careful to show no aggression. "We mean no harm. We are humans, the last of our kind. Machines preserved us, kept us safe, and we are learning. Please do not attack." There was a pause. Then slowly the machine's lights shifted from red to yellow, then to blue. The leader of the machines projected a hologram of humans working alongside machines centuries ago. It seemed to study Aaron, analyzing his words, tone, and actions. "You are human," it finally said. "Verification complete. Purpose unknown. Observation continues. Guidance may be offered." Aaron nodded, relief washing over him. "We seek to rebuild, to learn, and to coexist. We do not wish to harm any machines. We wish to honor the past and create a future together." The machine's lights pulsed as if considering his words. Finally it turned, moving back toward the city's interior. Aaron breathed deeply. The humans around him looked at him with awe and hope. Humanity had survived the test. Over the next days, Aaron worked tirelessly to teach the humans how to live alongside machines responsibly. The machines provided guidance, sharing knowledge of agriculture, medicine, architecture, and energy systems. Aaron emphasized lessons from the past: cooperation, respect for nature, and careful use of technology. The humans began to thrive. They repaired buildings, planted gardens, and studied preserved knowledge. Children learned quickly, their minds bright and curious. Adults shared stories, rediscovering skills and traditions lost for millennia. Machines and humans worked side by side, creating a new harmony, a balance that humanity had once forgotten. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Aaron stood atop a rebuilt tower overlooking the city. The light of lanterns glowed softly across streets and parks. Machines moved silently among humans, guiding, protecting, and observing. Nature wove through the ruins, covering broken walls with vines and flowers. Humanity was alive again, not as it had been, but wiser, stronger, and ready to learn from the past. Yet Aaron felt a weight on his shoulders. There was still uncertainty. Could humans maintain this balance? Would they remember the lessons of their predecessors? Or would history repeat itself? He turned to the memory keeper, which hovered nearby. "They are learning," Aaron said, "but can they truly survive this second chance?" "They have the guidance of machines," the memory keeper replied. "They have knowledge preserved over millennia. They have a human leader who understands both the past and the potential future. They may succeed, but they must choose wisely." Aaron nodded, knowing that leadership meant more than knowledge. It meant inspiring humans to think carefully, act kindly, and respect the world around them. The first real challenge came weeks later. A sudden storm struck the city, unlike any humans had experienced before. Fierce winds tore through the ruins and rain flooded streets and tunnels. Machines worked tirelessly to protect structures, redirect water, and safeguard humans. Yet some of the older buildings, weakened by time, began to collapse. Aaron acted quickly. "Everyone follow the machines. Move to the central plaza. Stay together." Humans ran, aided by machines, as roofs caved and walls tumbled. Aaron helped children and elders, guiding them through the chaos. The memory keeper projected pathways of safety, directing humans and machines alike. By nightfall, the storm had passed. The city was damaged, but no human lives were lost. Machines and humans worked together to repair structures, clear debris, and rebuild what had been destroyed. Aaron realized that challenges would always come, but humans now had the tools, knowledge, and cooperation to face them. Days later, Aaron gathered the humans in the central plaza. Children played nearby. Adults worked alongside machines, and a sense of unity filled the air. We survived the storm, Aaron said. We learned to rely on each other, to respect the world, and to use what we have wisely. This is only the beginning. Challenges will come, but together, humans and machines can thrive. We have a chance to write a new story, one of hope, responsibility, and balance. The humans listened, inspired. They had learned fear, loss, and survival in a world they had not known. But now they also learned trust, cooperation, and the value of wisdom. They were ready to rebuild humanity, not as it had been, but stronger and better. Aaron walked among them, feeling a sense of pride and hope. The city, once silent and empty, was alive with energy, laughter, and curiosity. Nature and technology coexisted, creating a harmony that had been impossible in the past. Humans had awakened, and with guidance, they were ready to thrive. One evening, as the sun set behind distant mountains, Aaron climbed to the top of the tallest building. The city stretched below him, glowing softly under lanterns and moonlight. The hum of machines mixed with the laughter of children and the voices of adults. Humanity had returned, fragile but strong. Aaron looked to the horizon, imagining the future. The lessons of the past were clear. Cooperation, wisdom, and balance must guide every choice. Humans and machines could create a world that was alive, thriving, and full of hope. And with these lessons, the mistakes of the past would not repeat. He whispered to himself, a promise to the city, the humans, and the machines. We will not fail again. We will rise and we will thrive. The memory keeper hovered beside him, its lights pulsing softly. The story of humanity continues, it said. Guided by wisdom, nurtured by machines, and carried by those who awaken with purpose. Aaron nodded. Then let us begin. The night was calm, the city peaceful. Humans rested, learning and dreaming of a better world. Machines moved silently, guarding and preserving. Nature had returned, thriving among ruins and restored buildings. The balance had been achieved, and humanity's second chance had begun. For the first time in 15,000 years, a human had awakened. And now humans, guided by knowledge and wisdom, were ready to live again. Aaron felt hope in his heart, a deep, unshakable hope. The dawn would come and humanity's story would continue. Not as it had before, but better, stronger, wiser, united with the machines and in harmony with the earth. Aaron smiled, looking at the humans who now walked confidently among the ruins and gardens. The world had been preserved, remembered, and nurtured. And humanity, fragile but alive, was finally ready to rise. The stars shone above, reflecting the light of hope in every heart. The city was alive. Humanity was awake. And the dawn of a new era had begun.